I'm going to list off some things that you should do to be your best self. Being your best self is, for me, defined by being your most happy self. Like, your happiest version is the version of you that's going to be the most productive, the most successful, the most glowing, the most loving, the most impactful to the world in a positive way, the most fulfilled. And so realistically, what this video is going to be catered to is making your most happy self, becoming your most happy self, becoming your happiest version. And in doing so, you are becoming your best self. I feel like that's a nice reminder, because sometimes we think in order to be our best selves, we have to do all these things that we don't want to do, like doing things that maybe for some people are hard and don't necessarily feel good. And so becoming your best self feels like a chore in a way. When you switch the mindset to realizing that your best self is just your most happy self, so the only thing you actually need to work on is making yourself happy. And that doesn't mean short-term satisfaction or gratification. That doesn't mean doing the thing that's going to make you happy in this exact moment. It means both short-term and long-term. So making sure you're taking care of yourself and setting yourself up to make a happy lifestyle, to create a happy life for yourself, to be a happy person. And so we're going to go into all the nitty-gritty of each of the things that I think you should do in order to be your best self. By the way, if you're new here, please subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you. Okay, let me adjust my hair and then let's get into it. How to be happy? This is the question. This is a big question. I feel like this is like asking what the meaning of life is. It's a question that is complicated and has so many different layers and is so personal, and there is no right answer to it, and it's hard to figure out. But the way that you can know how to be happy is to get to know yourself, and you can do that by trying a ton of different things. And so just literally trying everything. I have always been the type of person that's been willing to try something once. That's a quality about myself that I really, really, really love and value, because like people say, you don't know if you like something until you try it. You don't know if you hate something until you try it. Going to a restaurant and not being willing to try the weird thing that's on the menu that someone else bought but is offering you a bite of, don't be closed off. Try it. We're here to live a fully experienced, broad life, and to live fully, you have to grab hold of all the experiences you possibly can. Anytime you're given an opportunity to try something new, take it. And even if you don't like it, even if you don't want to stick to it, that's fine. But at least just try it, because you won't know until you try it that you hate it or you love it. And for the people that are out there that say, oh, I hate blank, if you haven't tried it, you don't hate it. You don't know. So how can you hate it? Like, you just can't. For example, for me, I hate mushrooms, but every once in a while, every few years, I'll have a mushroom in front of me somewhere, and I'll say, you know what? Let me try it and see if I still hate it, because I'm curious. Maybe my taste buds have changed, and I'll try it, and I'll still hate it, but at least I tried, and at least I now know, yep, checked in, still hate it. Okay, we'll see back in a few years. Like, maybe it'll be a lifetime thing, but at least I'm trying. What's the worst that's gonna happen? It tastes bad, I spit it out. Like, I'm alive, I'm well, it's not that serious. Let your human experience be as broad as you possibly can, and try it all. Just try it all, please. There are so many people that aren't capable of trying the things that we have opportunities to try. Just see, and that doesn't just apply to food, that just like came to my mind, but that comes to playing different sports, that comes to trying different activities, that comes to different subjects that maybe you would possibly be interested in, but you just think you don't like, so you wouldn't entertain it, or you think would be hard, so you don't entertain it, or you think you couldn't do it, so you don't entertain it. Just try it. Just try. Just try. And on top of just trying, I want to say, you are going to be bad in the beginning. Everybody's bad in the beginning of trying something. Like, to the people that feel discouraged, myself included, when they try something for the first time and they're not good at it, and that makes them not want to continue because you only want to do things you're good at, you can't get good unless you keep going. Like, for example, I went on my first run the other day, and I was like feeling like, oh my gosh, like I really can't run. Like, I knew I couldn't run because I've never liked running. I get super out of breath. I had asthma when I was younger, probably still do, but I just have all of these excuses, all of these reasons for why I can't do this thing that I want to be able to do. And I'm telling myself, like, I told you so. But then I had a realization, this is the worst I'll ever be at this thing. That was my first time doing it. There is only up from here. I can only get better. That is the absolute worst I'll ever be. I'm just going to continue getting better and better and better. And so just try things and be a lot more gentle and understanding of yourself when you're not good at it in the beginning. The next thing is figuring out your non-negotiables. I'm calling them non-negotiables, but what they really are the things that you do to take care of yourself. And I call them non-negotiables because a lot of us know the things that we should do to take care of ourselves, but we don't do them, even though we know we should. And I think that you should have a list of things that are non-negotiables, like They have to get done. You can have a list of like 3 things that you know have to get done. It can literally be something as small as like, I have to brush my teeth. I have to drink a glass of water. I have to go for a walk. Like, just have 3 things, big or small, that are your non-negotiables that you don't already do. Like, don't cop out here and be like, oh, I have to wash my face if you already naturally are washing your face every day. Add 3 new things. Just to top them on top for some fun. And also make it realistic. Don't set yourself up for failure. Okay, and another part of the category of taking care of yourself, this one might hurt a little bit. I have a question for you, and I want you to be honest. And if you're brave enough, I want you to leave it in the comments down below. If you're brave enough. If you're not that vulnerable, if you're a little like embarrassed about it, don't comment it down below, because I get that. But if you're embarrassed about it, that should tell you something. The question is, what is your screen time on your phone? Go to the settings, screen time section. I'll show you mine because I'm being vulnerable on here. I went to settings and screen time. As you can see today, I have spent 3 hours and 49 minutes on my phone. I want you to go and check what yours is, and I also want you to open to see what apps you're using most. If your screen time is something that you're embarrassed about, if your screen time is pretty high. Typically when I ask someone, their screen time is like 5 to 6 hours, especially like our generation. Like, if you are from the age of like maybe 35 to, let's say, 16, the generation that really grew up with majority of their lives having a phone, having social media specifically, you probably have a high screen time, and that is cutting into your life. Not only is it impacting just you wasting that much time in a day realistically, when you could be doing other things that would be making you happy, it also is just a proven fact that majority of the time, if you're spending more time on social media, you are less likely to be happy. Is basically just like you're living in a fake world. You're sitting here scrolling, feeling all the emotions that you would feel as if you're actually living these things that you're watching, but you're not actually doing anything. You're living a fake life. And when you look back, don't you want to look back and think of all the things that you did within your days, even your mundane days, knowing that you went for that walk, or you were painting, or you were speaking with your grandma, or you met up with your friends often, or whatever it is. Wouldn't you rather look back and know that you spent your day-to-day doing that rather than just scrolling all the time? And I think there's going to be days where you're going to have days that you scroll for an hour or 2. I think that's completely normal, or even more than that. But to do it every single day and to have it be a part of a routine that you didn't sign up for, it's not fair to you. You deserve better than that. And you deserve to fully be able to experience your life, grabbing life by the balls and being like, I am going to run you, and I'm going to squeeze you. Maybe let me change this metaphor. Getting the most out of it, okay? Squeezing the juice out of your lemons or whatever it is, making the most of your life. And I'm still laughing at me saying squeezing their balls, squeezing life's balls. Anyways, the next thing is finding an offline activity. Just try some stuff, see what you like. It's not that hard, okay? For me, I've really been liking reading recently. I go through phases where it's sewing. I go through phases where it's watching a lot of spirituality content. I go through phases where it's playing music a lot, or I go through phases where it's painting. I really like my painting phases. Those are very peaceful phases. I've gone through a phase where I was obsessed with a puzzle. I just have something always that I know I can go to. That way when I'm bored, my first initial reaction isn't to pick this up and scroll. That's a dangerous habit to get into, and instead you want to just have a habit that you know you can go to that isn't necessarily gonna leave you feeling sluggish, but make you feel like, I did a little thing. I feel a little accomplished. I got to be a little creative. I got to have some fun. I got to turn my mind off for a second, take a break. The next thing is to use affirmations. I'm only going to go over this for a quick second, but sometimes I forget how effective affirmations can be. If you're feeling crappy right now, go and write down some affirmations of things you want to be, and either say them to yourself in the mirror, or just say them out loud, or just repeat them over and over in your head. I actually did this thing where I recorded a voice note on this app called Parrot, which is basically an app that loops the voice note over and over and over again. And I wrote a list of affirmations that I wanted. I read them to myself on the phone, and then I would play it in my headphones, and I would hear my own voice saying the affirmations that I needed, which was very effective. Affirmations make a really big difference because they're literally telling your brain what to focus on. You're giving your brain instructions of what to find. So if you're telling yourself, I am smart, your brain is now looking for confirmation that you are smart. So just say the things that you want. Pray and talk. I say talk because a lot of the times prayer, people assume, it falls into like that religious category, or you've grown up with a family that had very strict understandings of what prayer looked like. And I just mean literally talk with the most open conversation. Like, you have a bestie that judges you? Literally not at all. Like, just accepts you completely and understands you completely and just gets you, like really, really gets you. Have a conversation with that. I personally say God, but that being, that energy, whatever you want to call it. Next thing is to pursue your passions. And this goes back to making sure you know what your passions are. But once you have a little bit of that figured out, you should set realistic goals for yourself and make sure you're working hard to achieve them, and make sure that you're putting priority into these goals. A lot of the times we set goals for ourselves, but we don't actually treat them with the same amount of respect that we do the other obligations in our life. And I think it's important to make sure that you are making a big conscious effort to working towards your goals, because that's your happiness. And if you're not happy, life is very different for you in moments when you're not happy, or if you're having a big period of time when you're not happy. And I also want to say, just because you live happily, just because you're a happy person, just because you have a happy life, doesn't mean every second is happy. That, I feel like, is a big misconception, and something that I've only kind of realized as I've gotten happier and happier in my life. It's like, just because I am overall very, very happy, there are still days or hours or moments where I'm really, really sad, and that's okay. And I don't think there's any need to get rid of those sad moments, because even in those sad moments, I know that that's not my natural resting state. I know that I will be happy again. I know the sun will rise, and I just kind of ride out where I'm currently at. And it doesn't need to be like this dooming thing of like, oh my God, now I'm stuck in this feeling forever. Like, no, you'll bounce back. Life happens. You're going to have ups and downs. Even if you're having your happy moment right now, you are going to have sad moments again. That's okay. You'll feel them out. You'll learn the lessons you're meant to learn, and then you'll be back up again. And then within the pursue your passions point, I also want to say to be your biggest cheerleader. It is so easy to be hard on ourselves. And I want to say that, especially when working towards goals or when just trying to be better, be kind to yourself. That's what you need. That is literally what you need. You do so much better when you are being kind to yourself. You are not going to get much out of yourself if you're constantly being like, why aren't you doing this? You didn't do enough. You're not good enough. If you're doing that, you're just beating yourself down, and then you're not going to be able to do as much. If you're telling yourself like you're trying your best and like you actually did better than you did last time, I'm really proud of you. Like, you're still wanting to do good. You're choosing to better yourself. That's big. Not everybody does that. Like, just being kind to yourself. You get so much more out of yourself because you're literally uplifting yourself. You're making yourself stand taller and straighten up your shoulders and hold your head high, and you do better from that state than you do in like this curled up ball that you're putting yourself in when you constantly are beating yourself down. The next point I have is to romanticize your life, and I like to do this by having little luxuries. So for example, for me, I know that I am not naturally someone who reaches for water. I will let myself get dehydrated and then have to go and like chug some water because I forgot to drink water all day. But in romanticizing my experience with my water, I really drink a lot more. So for example, I have a hydro flask, which I swear by, and then also I have a little like carafe, which is basically like a jug of water that has a little lid on top of it that I keep by my bed, and I also will bring it around with me throughout the day. And just having a glass or like a cup or a water thing that you use that makes you feel fancy and luxurious, you're going to want to do it more, and it makes you feel nice every time you get to do it, so you just reach for it more. This also would go into like, let's say for example, every day you have to do an extensive makeup routine. If you have an area for a vanity, maybe get one of those vanities that have like the lights on it, because that would enhance your experience. Or if you always have to cook for your kids every single day and that's just something that you don't really love to do but you have to do, buy yourself a new knife set or get some new like dishware, or start to like make the plating really nice, or just like doing things that would make you actually enjoy it more, whatever that is for you. And another thing within romanticizing your life is taking care of your things, your home, your car, your body, your items. Make sure your clothes do not have holes in them, or that you're washing them on time, or that you are keeping your house clean and tidy, or that your car doesn't smell of rotting McFlurry that's been in there for years. Like, take care of the things you have, because you are having to live this life every single day. You're having to experience the things you're creating for yourself every single day. So just cultivate all of your experience to be nice. And I know that's easier said than done, because if you can't afford to have the nicest things, maybe you feel like, oh, I can't do that. But it's not necessarily about having the nicest things. It's just about taking care of the things you already have. Like, if you have this phone, making sure you're not dropping it constantly, getting a case for it, or just like treating it with respect. If you have art on the walls that you know is crooked, straighten it. Like, just do little things to make your life feel taken care of, because your surroundings are like a representation of you, and you're kind of telling your brain what you deserve based off of the things you're constantly seeing. If you're constantly seeing like a crappy place around you, your bedroom's always a mess, there's always clothes all over the floor, and everything's always a disaster around you, you're kind of programming yourself to believe that that's what you deserve, because that's what you're seeing in your reality, and that's not true. So just try and make yourself feel a little more taken care of by taking care of the things you already have. The next thing is to create a positive community. You get to pick the people in your life, and I think that you should be very picky. I don't think that you should settle in relationships with friends, with family, with romantic partners, with literally anybody in your life. You get to allow and accept the energy that you have around you, and you should really hold everyone around you to a high standard, as well as yourself. I think that if you're around someone often and you leave them feeling tired or drained or sluggish or lower than you were feeling before you saw them, stop seeing that person, please. It's not anything against them. It's just that maybe your vibe isn't the same. You're just vibrating on a different level, and that's okay. And that it has nothing to do with them, and it's nothing bad against them, whatever, not your problem. But it is your responsibility to uphold the level of quality you have around you. And speaking of quality, another thing with community is it's quality over quantity. You do not need a million people in your corner. You just need like a few really, really, really good ones. Like, you need to really pick your close friends or the close family that you have around you. Pick them very wisely. Make sure that they're people that make you feel good. That's such an easy baseline to have for the people in your life. If someone does not make you feel good, why are they in your life? Like, they should not be in your life, especially as an adult who has a say and autonomy over who they surround themselves with. Why are you choosing bad people? If it's because you don't have anyone else around you, wouldn't you rather just be alone because you're happier without them by you? And then you'll find nicer people because now you have that open spot. I don't know. To me, that just doesn't make sense. Like, why are you keeping people around that you always feel the need to complain about, or that you're always like in a fight within your head, or you're always annoyed of, or that are always putting you down? Like, it's kind of on you if you're sticking around them. Not to be harsh, but it a little bit is. Bottom line is, your life is your responsibility. Your happiness is your responsibility. And the last thing that kind of also feeds into this, so that you don't have to be the friend that's ever tearing people down, is to be a good person. And this is something that unfortunately seems not that common at times. Let me take that back, because you know what? I know a lot of good people, and I come in contact with a lot of good people, but I think sometimes when you see like social media and stuff, it makes it seem like there's a lot of bad people in the world, but there are also a lot of good people, and I think that we should be one of them, or I guess two of them. When you look back at your life on your deathbed, not to be dark, but it's gonna happen. We literally, like Lana says, born to die. We are born to die. We will die eventually. And when that time does come, being able to look back and know that you were a good person will be the most fulfilling thing you can do. No matter how much success, no matter how beautiful, no matter how much money, no matter anything else, knowing that you were able to be a good person and make a positive impact, however small, even if that's just being the person that smiles at people on the street, or being the person that gives out compliments, being like a good person, doing things to just make other people happy, and doing things out of like the kindness of your heart because it makes you feel good. Being a good person is not a selfless act. I'm not going to lie here. I don't think I am a good person solely because it's great for other people to be around me. I'm a good person because it makes me feel alive. Like when I get to compliment someone or help someone or give advice to someone or make someone feel better or like love them or make them laugh, that feeling that I get is like literally a light inside me, lights up, and like my entire body is like electrified. And that sounds so dramatic, but I'm not kidding. It is a completely selfish act if you're someone that isn't motivated to be a good person just simply because you want to make a positive impact on the world. It makes a positive impact on you. Be selfish. Make yourself happy by being good to other people around you. Because when you're mean to other people, you're naturally just not happy. I just wanted to make this video because I feel like these are some good tips on what you can do to be your best self and aka be your happiest self, because that's what's most important. And if you're at this point in the video and you've just listened to me speak a ton, please comment down below a 4-leaf clover, like one of those little good luck leaf things. Yeah, comment one of those. Send some good luck to me and also to yourself. I love you guys. Bye. Subscribe, please, if you're new here, by the way. And if you already subscribed, I love you so much.